Hi everyone, it's Justine. When you buy shoes, the price and or the brand are not indicators that you're getting good quality, unfortunately. But there are still several details you can easily pay attention to when you're shopping for shoes that will save you a lot of trouble / pain / regrets. I'm going to show you shoes from my own collection, which you've seen in a previous video a few weeks ago about my shoes. And you will see the materials as well as the construction. Both things matter tremendously. At the end of this video, you'll also get some shoe shopping tips that you might or might not know. It's not always obvious. Let's go. First, the material is really important. Shoes are usually made of fabric or suede, which is a little bit brushed leather, or flat regular leather, or plastic. Most shoes fit into those 4 categories. The shoe will tell you, for example, on those ones, those ballerinas, it says here, I still have the label underneath, that this is suede leather. The inside is leather, but you see it's not suede, it's not hairy, it's regular flat leather. And the sole is in plastic. On this shoe here, which is a made in France handcrafted shoe, you can see inside, on this label, it says the upper is in leather, the inside here, everything is in leather, and the sole also. Here you see the plastic element, I'll get back to that in a minute. But basically, the shoe will tell you. Each material can be good or bad depending on how you see it. Leather is made from animal skin, so that's an obvious argument against leather if you're vegan or vegetarian. It is sensitive to water and sun. It is a very noble material, so it needs to be prepared before it's used on shoes. That makes it more expensive, more premium. And it is soft and flexible because it's skin. So it gets more and more comfortable over time when you wear the shoes. It's also quite breathable and it is biodegradable. Plastic, on the other side, or the official name is polyurethane, the scientific term. It's P.U. It's plastic. Is a lot cheaper, which is the main reason why many cheaper brands would use that in their shoe production. It's very durable, more durable than leather, but it's so durable that it is not biodegradable. Leather needs roughly 50 years to biodegrade. PU needs 500 years. It is less breathable than leather. It is in fact not breathable, it's plastic. It is also a bit sensitive to UV rays and it might lose or change its color if you leave the shoes in the sun. And when you hear that shoes are made of vegan leather, so-called vegan leather, it's in fact PU that is prepared to make it look like it's leather, but it is PU, it is plastic. Coming back to leather for 1 second, I forgot something. Not all leathers are good quality. There is leather and leather, depending on where and how it's produced. For instance, if the leather is very thin, flexible and supple, it's probably higher quality. Also, if you see a little scratch on a shoe when you try the shoes on in store and the scratch has the same color as the surface of the leather, that's a very good sign, but it means that the skin has been prepared properly, it has been tanned well, so that's higher quality. If you have a scratch on your shoes later, it'll be really easy to just fix it with shoe cream that is transparent instead of having to look for a tinted cream that has exactly the color of your shoes. To finish on the materials, let's talk very quickly about ribbons and embellishments and stuff that's usually sewn as decorative elements on top of the shoe. The throat, this part here, the front upper part, let's say that's leather, and on top of that you have ribbons or beads sewn into the leather. The leather is flexible, so it's stretching and is supposed to bounce back into place, but the beading on top is stiffly sewn onto it. This is gonna make the holes of the sewing grow with time. You're gonna end up with holes in your leather. And the whole stuff that is sewn on top stiffens everything, so your shoes are gonna be a lot less comfortable. I am not a fan of embellishments and stuff on top of shoes. You see that in fancy shoe stores, cheap shoes, or also on super high-end designer shoes. I don't think that's a sign of quality and durability. Let's move on to the construction of the shoe, the next super important part. Example, that's the upper here, outside and inside, both matters. That is the sole. The heel, where it is placed, matters a lot. And then the arch here, especially important. The higher the heels, the more that is important. Let's dig deeper into each of those elements. Usually the upper and the sole are produced separately and then they are attached together, either with glue or with stitches. Both methods can be good if they're done properly. Here's how. If you see stitches, like on this shoe here, all around, then the thread of the stitches should be waxed. That's extremely important. You can know that if here you scratch a little bit with your nail or here, and you don't see little hairs coming out. That's a good sign if the thread remains compact and flat, so to speak. Wax makes the thread more durable because it protects it, and it also makes the seam waterproof. Very important. If the sole is glued instead of being stitched, like on those ones, then take the time before buying the shoes to look at all the edges here. You should see glue nowhere. If you see visible glue somewhere, it's a sign of very cheap production. So take the time, look at both shoes from all angles. The salesperson is gonna think that you're weird, but that's okay, because you know what you're doing. All the edges should be impeccable. That's actually a good shoe. And if you have edge paint, like here, the leather here is this color, but they painted the edges to match the color of the heel and the rubber sole, which is good, then this edge paint should also look impeccable, which is the case. Then under the sole, what do you see? This is just leather. You see it's absorbing a lot of things I stepped onto, it's dirty, and it's starting to be eaten up by all the little sand pieces, glass pieces, mini stones I stepped onto. The sole is starting to deteriorate here. That's why I prefer a rubber sole. It's less slippery than that, huge factor for me. And you could technically just replace this rubber sole when it gets used up without that leather part starting to get damaged. If you buy shoes like that and you want to add a rubber sole, any shoe repair shop around the corner of your house can do that, and you can just replace the rubber sole every now and then when it needs it. The next point is the placement of the heel under the shoe. Here are two examples. This one, you can tell that the entire heel is really in the middle of this part of your foot. That's a proper heel placement. That's another good example. You see the heel starts more at the back, but it's going that way. So the part that is supported on the floor is really under your heel where it needs to be. Sometimes you see shoes, especially ankle boots, if they're cheap and poorly constructed, the heel goes down here completely vertically. That can't be. The foot doesn't work like that. That's poor construction. Then the arch is essential, especially on high heels. You see this curve here. It should follow the natural curve of your foot. If you're wearing those shoes and you feel that your foot is like in them, that's terrible. The foot should naturally lie on it and feel comfortable and have possibly the full surface as a contact point. Now you might think ballerinas have no arch. They are completely flat, so by definition they cannot be comfortable. You have to wear them with an insole inside that compensates for the flatness of the shoe itself. Otherwise it will never work with the natural arch of your foot. Ballerinas are not a comfortable type of shoe. Then inside the shoe you should be able to see a full lining. Here it's in a darker color, so it's easy to see. It's stitched here all around. If you put your fingers inside up to the tip, up to the toes, or you look inside, you see the lining goes up to the end. It's a full lining. This one is not good. When you look at it from the top, you don't notice anything. It looks like it's lined, but look to the front. Can you see? It stops right here. So all the front part of the foot is on the hard ground every time you make a step. Cheap. They save money on the corners. There are two main points that get shocked every time you make a step, because we humans are not meant to walk just on 2 feet. There is the heel here, and there is the front part where you have the balls of the foot where it carries most. Those two parts get shocked with every step. So you need, in good shoes, to have a cushion. Here you can see the little cushion under the heel, but we're missing one here inside. So half of the work done. Last but not least, some useful tips that I think not everyone knows. First, always try on shoes to see the true size when your feet are swollen. That means at the end of the day or on hot days. This way you see the maximum expansion of your foot. Feet are compact in the morning and they expand during the day by up to half a size. So that really matters. Another thing to test before you buy is to press on the sides of the shoe to see if the shoe is also flexible sideways. That's an indicator of comfort, and that's especially important if the shoe is a light shoe or flat. Do protect your shoes with a waterproof spray thing. It's not a marketing trick, it's really useful, I think. Do it right after you bought the shoes, before you wear them for the first time. Do it a couple of times during the year, every now and then, just so you don't forget. And every time it got wet. It protects the surface, it makes it easier to clean, and it makes it last longer. When you store your shoes, you know those little hangers with papers that you have inside the shoes when you buy them? That's really good, you should keep that. Put those hangers, put the paper, especially in leather shoes or in boots, shoes that have a shape that's supposed to stay the same, so not fabric, but like harder materials. It really preserves the shape a lot longer. Thumbs up if you learned something new, something useful. Thank you so much. I also did a similar video on how to recognize good versus bad quality in clothing. So if you're interested in that, I'll link it here and in the description below. Have a look there. Many of you found it useful and even shared further tips in the comments. So I find the comment section of that video extremely helpful. I do fashion videos twice a week, every Wednesday and Sunday. So if you want more, subscribe to this channel right here. I'll see you soon again, and until then you can go analyze the shoes in your closet. Take care. Bye bye.